Picture this. You're an editor in the late 1970s, early 1980s, and there's this new thing being talked about. Digital editing. Editing you can do on the computer. You can barely wrap your brain around it. I mean, so far, all of editing has been done through physical film and through cutting and physically taping all of the shots together. You think digital editing is not going to become some big thing. This is always how things have been done. But all of a sudden, all these different studios and all these different companies are switching to this digital editing thing. So now you're going out and you're applying for jobs. And every time you're applying for jobs, you're telling people, well, I do all of my editing on the Steam Deck. I do everything physically. And they're saying, well, I'm really looking for a digital editor. You're faced with two options at this point. You can either A, find a new industry to work in, or B, you need to learn and you need to adapt to this new technology that's coming out. Now, it's 2025. And most people don't even know what a Steam Deck is, let alone how to actually use it. Everybody edits digitally. And it's allowed more films to be made faster and has allowed more people to join the film industry. So what are the differences and the similarities in AI entering the film industry? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode. This is Real Intelligence, the podcast where we talk about all things AI in the film industry and the ways that filmmakers all over the world are using AI. We also talk about new tools and news and everything that is happening.
Real intelligence leading the way. AI insights, it's what you crave. Real intelligence, turn up the light. Stay informed all through the night.
My name's Katya Alexander. For those of you who don't know me, I have been an indie producer for 10 years. I sold a film to a Bamarama. I have won South by Southwest and had that film sold to IFC. It became a trending film on Hulu. I worked in the Las Vegas Sphere, which was a boot camp between the intersection of technology and entertainment. And now I am the head of production at a studio called Fable Studios, which is the studio behind Showrunner AI. For this episode, I wanted to pose a question for myself. Should filmmakers be learning AI? And my answer, pretty simply, is yes. And I want to get into why. Because I know so many people are against AI, they're afraid of AI. I think there are some parts of AI to be afraid of. I think there are some parts of AI to be celebrated. And I want to go through all of those different views. Something I do want to remind people, I didn't invent AI, I think sometimes when people are talking about it, viewers can react as if they're the person that invented it and, they are the cause behind everything. When ultimately it sort of happened. And it already happened, and the genie most likely will not be going back in the bottle, just like every other technological advancement that we have gone through as the film industry and as a humanity as a whole. And so I'm trying to approach this new world that has this new tool and help people that are within this industry that I love, that I've been working in for so long. I also want to say this isn't a hype episode about AI. This is an episode about strategy, sustainability, and creative control in this ever-changing industry. So let's talk about what's changed in the last 24 months. About 2 years ago, maybe a little over 2 years ago, AI started being talked about. And a lot of the clips that were being generated were, terrible. When we think about the Will Smith eating spaghetti clips, they weren't good and they couldn't be used for anything really. We had things like Midjourney that was actually creating some interesting images, but it couldn't go beyond images. People weren't sure if AI was here to stay or if it would get better, and nobody could predict how quickly it was going to get better. Now let's talk about present day, 2025. You can pretty much make a really polished short film with AI. Now, is it as simple as typing a sentence and getting a whole thing out? No, it's still a very, very manual process. And I think if you want creative control, there is going to be a level of manual process that will exist always. A lot of VFX can be done with AI now. I think about Sora, I think about the developments in Pika Labs. Even Midjourney has gotten so much better. And Runway has come out with so many tools that allows people to pretty much make short films from their bedroom. So many different problems have been solved, like character continuity and lip sync and location continuity. So many of the problems that we thought that could never really be solved have been solved. And then even at the company that I'm working at, the thing that we're developing is user-generated infinite television. You can have complete control over the television you're watching, as well as you can create new episodes, you can create spin-off shows. There's so many different things that you can do with this tool, and none of that could exist before AI. But let's also talk about some of the negative things that have happened too, because like I said, This is not a hype video. The industry has slowed down substantially. Now, does that have to do with AI or not? I'm not sure. I think that there's certain levels that the future predicting of AI has made things slow down, but ultimately, being someone who is very, very involved in the industry and very involved in specifically the AI side of the industry, AI is not really being implemented yet in meaningful ways. Definitely major companies are meeting about AI and talking about AI and talking about the future of it. Outside of a couple of like indie studios that are trying to make high budget films using AI, it's not really being used in a meaningful way that would replace large amounts of people and definitely wouldn't replace all of film altogether. The other thing that happened in time is there's been a lot of strikes that had a lot of merit. There was a massive reason for those strikes to happen, but during those strikes there was a massive consolidation of studios. There was buy hold, Greenlight holds. There are so many different things that were just put on hold. Studios are not buying content at the amount that they were, nor are they greenlighting or funding content at the amount that they were. Even when you're tracking film festivals are not selling films out of their festivals at the rate that they once were. A lot of people are afraid, a lot of people are out of work, a lot of people are leaving the film industry. And it honestly has more to do with the fact that most films are being shot overseas using overseas crews and overseas talent. And a lot of work has been outsourced for a long time. When I think about the animation industry has been hiring people overseas for years now. Same thing with the VFX industry. Pretty much anything that can be sent overseas has been sent overseas. I don't want to say that AI has nothing to do with it or AI won't affect things in the future. I just want us to be clear and understanding of what is actually happening in the state of the industry right now. But here is a possible outcome that I do see happening. Just like the beginning of the streamer boom, there were all of these different platforms being created and they needed so much content. Here is a little glimmer of hope that I see potentially coming down the pipeline. Right now, AI tools are making it easier to make your projects. On a large scale, I will also say AI has not really lessened the size of any team of any project I've worked on whenever it doesn't have to. So an example, if we do have a budget, we will hire all the same people. We'll probably just use AI with those people. It's more so, I'm talking about the world where you don't have a budget. Let's say you're just some random person and you want to make your short film and you want to make this crazy sci-fi insane short film, and to do it with no resources would be nearly impossible. But with AI, you can actually make that. You don't have to rely on studios as much. You don't have to rely on major financing as much. You can just rely on yourself and work on something after work or on weekends. That puts the power of the industry into our hands. The merit would be, are you a good storyteller or not? Because even if you are at the end of the day going to make your film live action and not use any AI in the final film, you can create an amazing proof of concept film that is a feature film of your idea using AI first. So you can fail really quickly and get to the final good product also very quickly. It also allows you to spend more time on the creative side of the project than the logistics side of the project. So early on in producing, people would come to me with ideas, even now, and I'll be like, oh, that's such a great idea. I hope that you can make it in the next 30 years because the resources it would require to make that are just so substantial. Where now I'm like, would you be curious to figure out how to do this with AI? AI happened whether we like it or not. And it is going to continue being implemented in the industry at a higher and higher rate. Have it be in the previs, have it be VFX, have it be animation. And it's going to come back to when Excel came out, when CGI happened, when we started editing digital. If you are an accountant and you existed when Excel came out, and you said, well, Excel is for hacks, I only use leather-bound ledgers, you're just not going to be hired. They're going to hire the accountant that uses Excel. It's the same thing with editing. When digital editing happened and everybody started using it, if you were the editor that was like, I'm actually a purist and I only use the Steam Deck, you're not going to be hired to edit. They're going to hire the people that do digital editing. It's the same thing with AI. If you love it, if you hate it, it doesn't really matter. It's here to stay. And if a project starts requiring some level of knowledge about AI and you've refused to gain that knowledge, what I'm trying to say is being left behind is within your control. If you don't want to be left behind, then don't. start learning these tools and start making yourself irreplaceable. Because you're not going to be replaced by these tools. You're going to be replaced by somebody who knows how to use these tools. I also want to say, AI is not perfect. It doesn't always have the best consistency, and it doesn't always have perfect quality. You also need to look more into the copyright laws, which will be my next episode actually. But if you're just denying learning any of these tools or ever experimenting with them, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and you're making yourself so replaceable in the future. So if you are a filmmaker and you are curious about learning about AI, here's where I would start. The simplest tools that are out there right now are ChatGPT, Runway, Pika Labs, Midjourney, and Sora. When it comes to audio, would be also 11 Labs and Adobe Enhance. Something to keep in mind is that AI is a tool, not a crutch. It's not going to do the work for you. It especially will not do the creative work for you. If you want your story to be good, you still need to be a good storyteller. If you want your characters to matter, you still need to write characters that matter. You still need to have some skills and end goals, and that should be exciting. That should be the most exciting part, is that you're still a filmmaker. You're just using new tools. And if you think that these tools make you a hack or a sellout, then you can continue editing on a Steam Deck. The most important thing is that you recognize AI tools as exactly what they are. They're just tools to make your vision come to life. But you have to have the vision, which is why I really do want traditional filmmakers to come more into this space. It is what this space is lacking, is the skill and the eye of traditional filmmakers. And if you think that if the space continues lacking this, it just will go away, it won't. So you're either going to get on the train or you're going to be left behind. And I really don't want to see the people in this industry that I love be left behind. If you have any suggestions for people who are just starting using AI, or you have anything that you want to say to an artist who might be nervous about it but might be interested, please leave it in the comments below. Every comment, like, follow, subscribe, every single thing helps this channel, and so I would really appreciate it. I'm Katya Alexander, and this is Real Intelligence.